All right, Fishy Dubs fishing. What I'm gonna do now is a fish cleaning table project. Now that I moved to my new house, I don't have any place to clean fish. I had the piece of food grade poly material set up between two trees, but now I'm going to make a table and use that same poly cutting board on the table. It's 30 by 40, and that's what the size of the table is going to be. And this is pressure treated wood I'm going to use, and I got some deck screws, some outdoor deck screws that's going to hold it together. So we're going to get some measurements and start cutting. Alright guys, what I did was got my measurements, laid it out, and cut it with the hand saw, circular saw. And I have speed squares, I have regular squares, levels. So that's the frame. I glued the joints and pre-drilled and put deck screws in, 2 in each corner. And then I checked it for square. What you do is measure from one corner to the other, diagonal, and then measure the opposite way. And whichever side is bigger, longer, I have a bar clamp here, so I pulled it in on the long side with a bar clamp till I have equal measurements. I'm 50 inches either way, 50 inches. So I'm going to let that set up overnight with the glue. That's the size of the table, 40 by 30. Now it might be a little deeper than what people use. They usually use a longer but narrower table. But when I fillet fish, especially if I have a lot of small ones, I like to pile them up on the back of the table and then just pull them as I need them forward. That's why I made it the size I did. Alright, we'll get back to you tomorrow. Okay guys, what I'm doing is making up the legs. Now these are 4 foot. I did 3. They're 4 foot. I'll probably sink a foot into the ground and make the table height 3 foot, or I might have to go up a couple of inches because I'm relatively tall and I got to see how I cut on a 3 foot table. So what I'm doing is I got 2 by 4 pressure treated, and I saved myself quite a bit of money. 2 by 4, not 2 by 4, 4 by 4 by 8 pressure treated is about $10 each now. So I bought these 12 footers. I bought 2 12 footers and 1 8 footer. I bought, maybe I paid $20–25. So instead of paying $40, I cut the price in half. So what I'm doing is gluing one to the other. I'm putting 3 screws in each one, and the glue is going to really hold it together. So I get it lined up. I get a C-clamp to hold the one end where I want it. You want everything flush, plumb, true. Okay, everything's lined up. So what I like to do is pre-drill the holes if I can for deck screws. With deck screws sometimes you could split the wood. So this is in an ideal location, so I'm going to pre-drill it. Three screws will be enough with the glue. You want to put 4? You could put 4. But these deck screws are like $6–7 for a box. So I try to use them sparingly. And these are outdoor screws. They're treated. So run them down. I'd sink them down so the head's below the surface. It's 2, one more. We got 3. All right. So we got our 4 legs done. And I got the tabletop in the garage drying. We'll let this set up overnight. And then we could put the legs on the table. This is the top. This is my cutting surface here. This is food grade material. And it's like a 1/2 inch thick. All right, I'll catch you tomorrow. All right, guys. What I'm doing is putting the legs on. I got 3 done. I'm on the last one here. And I put it in place with 2 C-clamps. And then I check it with the level to make sure they're pretty close to level. If they're not, I'll just move it around a little bit. That's dead on. And that's close enough. So I'll snug it down. I'll check it again with the level. The legs are going in the sand, so it's not that critical. It's not like it's standing on a level floor. So now what I'll do is drill, pre-drill. I always like to pre-drill. It just seems like the screws go in easier. It doesn't split the wood. All right, we're all pre-drilled, so I could take the clamps off. Because I want to glue this joint to make it as strong as possible. Now I got a better glue today. This is wood glue. I was using cheap Elmer's glue yesterday, but for this I want something a little bit more. So I'll give it a good amount. Okay, that should be sufficient. So we'll put it back in the same location. We'll get our clamps on again, because we'll have to check it with the level again to get it back to where it was. Okay. So that has to go over. Good. And has to go over slightly. Okay. It's good for me. Snug the clamps up, and then we'll get our deck screws. I'm using 3-inch outdoor deck screws. It's going to be in the backyard. There's no saltwater environment to worry about. Otherwise you might have to use like a stainless screw. Okay, then we'll just drive them in. And I got two more over here. See if I could get them in without taking the clamp away. At least one. We can get the bottom one. Okay, we got two more screws to put on this side here. All right, we're going to stand it up and see how the top fits. I got to trim that a little bit. Okay, so I got the legs on. I stood it up. I had to trim this piece of food grade poly down. This was free, so this would be the main expense if you had to buy this. But I got it for free. Now, the cost of this, the lumber, I would say $25. I still have to buy one more piece. I'm going to trim the sides and then the back with some drain holes. And when I put this in the ground, this is high right now, so I said we're going to put it in the ground, so it's going to go down about a foot. And I'll lean it a little bit to the back, a couple of degrees to the back, so it drains, the water drains to the back. So the wood, $25, a box of screws, $5, that's $30. The glue I got to buy the trim boards, so another $5. So $35 would be your cost on something like this. Now that's if you have the plastic. Now people use starboard. Starboard's very expensive. A piece of starboard like this stick might cost you $100. So like I said, I had the material. Okay, we're going to trim it out. I got to pick up the trim, the 4-inch pieces that are going to contain the fish. When you dump the fish on the table, you don't want them flying off. And I'll show you the finished product. Okay guys, we're back at the fillet table again. I got the top on it. I have a side piece. I'm going to have another side piece, and I have the back piece. And the side pieces will go right down on top of the poly, the cutting surface, to keep it down. And the back one is going to be lifted up about a 1/4 inch for a drain, so the water drains, because the table's going to have a slight pitch to the back, so we want it to drain. I'm putting these braces on now to support it. I got to do the side pieces, and then I'll come back with the finished product. Alright guys, Fishy Dubs Fishing back, and this is the completed project. My fillet table. I put the sides on. I gave them a little bit of space, like a 1/16 of an inch underneath, and the back has about a 1/4 of an inch drain, and the table's pitched backwards. So this is the project. Can't wait to get the first fish on here. I did add some of these supports underneath to square it up, keep it squared. I could make a little shelf or something down here later. But this is it. The whole project was like $35. To buy this table, they sell them for hundreds of dollars. So this is it. Subscribe to my channel. The boat's right here, so the fish come off the boat right to the table. And we're going to be fishing shortly. I have a hand injury, a wrist injury from working on my new house, and we're going to be fishing. Okay guys, thanks for watching.